Welcome to this edition of Home Helper's Water Cooler Chat. Today we present to you the first installment of a captivating two-part series featuring a remarkable guest, Amy LaGrant, who has dedicated her life to making a difference. In this first installment, we dive into the inspiring journey of Amy LaGrant and discuss her recent talk on the TEDx stage. Amy LaGrant is an esteemed marketing and gerontology professional with over 2 decades of experience serving seniors and family caregivers. She also possesses a degree in gerontology and a master's in social anthropology, enriching her understanding of the aging process and its impact on society. Amy's dedication to the senior audience is evident through her active involvement on the boards of esteemed organizations like the Alzheimer's Association in Tennessee and Aging 2.0. In this interview, Amy shares her personal motivations and experiences that propelled her into the world of Alzheimer's and dementia care. Her insightful perspective sheds light on the challenges faced by caregivers and the importance of fostering a connection and supportive environment. Are you ready to meet the incredible Amy LaGrant? Prepare to be enlightened, inspired, and moved. Let's go. So thank you so much, Amy LaGrant, for joining us today for this episode of Home Helper's Water Cooler Chat. How are you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So I want to dive right into it. So the first question I have for you is, how did you get involved in working with those that are living with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia?
Well, that is a little bit of a weighted question, especially this week. Tomorrow is going to be my dad, or would have been my dad's 80th birthday. I lost my father and my grandfather both to Lewy bodies dementia. I started at a very young age getting involved in gerontology. And actually, I say this joke of I've been working with seniors since I was 5 years old because I used to volunteer at skilled nursing communities and adult day centers in my early days, and then kind of fell in love with seniors. And then when my grandfather was diagnosed with dementia, which was very early on in the dementia journey for our world, I guess is the best way to describe it, and where treatments were not available. And I remember actually I saw his medication list in the bathroom when he was visiting my family. And I went down and asked my grandmother and my mom and asked why grandpa was on Aricept. And they said, "What's Aricept?" And I said, "Well, it's actually the most prescribed drugs for Alzheimer's and dementia." And post that, my grandmother actually found out that my grandfather had been diagnosed with dementia. He didn't even tell her. And so ever since that moment, I have really fallen in love with helping people understand this disease, raise the awareness to this disease, and really the benefits of early diagnosis.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, that is important to raise awareness, right? And to do that, whether just in your own community or worldwide, really. So thank you so much for doing that. So Amy, you actually did a TEDx talk, and I've watched it twice. And so I'm anxious to share the world more about, your TEDx talk. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, I had the wonderful opportunity to be able to share my caregiving story via TEDx. And I think everybody falls in love with TED when they watch their first TEDx. And I will tell you, being on the TEDx stage was an absolute bucket list dream for me. I've been a TEDx groupie for many, many, many decades. And having that opportunity to be on that stage, and then on top of it, to be able to share my caregiving story. So my talk, I hope everybody who is listening here today will take the opportunity to check it out, is really about being a gerontologist and then being a daughter. And one of my favorite lines in that talk is that it's completely different when you call your patient dad. And my talk is about what that journey was like for our family, and me, quote unquote, being an expert in gerontology, and the fumbles and the falls that I had in my journey as well. And the main crux of my talk is about connection and creating connection I think there's a lot of advice out there about what you should be doing. And I think every journey with dementia and every family is different. And the experience of dementia is different with every person. And I think that's what makes caring for somebody with dementia so challenging, is that there's no true roadmap on how that's going to go. And everybody's experience is so different. Lewy body's dementia is very different from Alzheimer's. And what that looks like and how that represents in individuals can be very different. And the talk really talks about the way that we created connection within my family. And I share a couple stories that allowed my dad to experience some autonomy, allowed him to be able to participate, and allowed us to be a part of something more than the dementia. And I think that's what happens when you're a caregiver of somebody with dementia. I feel like all the conversations you're having are about dementia, are about caring for dementia, about working through the ADLs, and you lose sight of the relationship that used to exist. Your relationship before had nothing to do with dementia. And what I think people need to do and what they need to work towards is trying to figure out, how do we have a relationship again that is not just patient caregiver? And that was where I wanted to focus and really figure out, because I had a very challenging relationship with my dad before dementia. And I knew that I wanted these years to be good years, very challenging years, but I wanted to have some moments. And I will say, he passed away in 2020, and I look back with some level of fondness of those memories. There were definitely those stories that I could share of not so great memories, but we also were able to make connections. And I end my talk about that story, about what our relationship evolved to and what it looked like and what it could be, and that there are glimpses of hope and there are moments of joy. I will not make light of the moments of pain that exist as well, but that being able to share that and hopefully give people a different perspective on what it looks like, and also allow people to acknowledge that it's ugly and you're not perfect every day and you're doing the best that you can. And so I hope that's what my talk gives people when they listen to it.
Excellent. Thank you, Amy. Yes, that was a very important talk, and I think all of our viewers should watch that TEDx talk. I think it was about maybe 12 minutes long or something like that, so it won't take them that long to watch, and I will certainly share the link or the information about that TEDx talk in this video and in the comments.
You see, I approached my dad's dementia with the way I was taught, with my research in hand and the list of all the things you should do when caring for somebody with this disease.